Hello and welcome to my channel. So the first thing we're going to do is start off with the supplies, and everything is listed right on screen. So let's jump right in. We're going to keep this simple. So you want to start off with a chain between 8 and 10. So this is going to be the part for your ribbing. So this is how wide you want your waistband to be. Okay, so I made a chain of 9. So when I go back down, there will be 8 chains. So I'm going to yarn over, skip that first chain on my hook, go into the second and make a half double crochet. Okay, and I'm going to do that in each chain all the way down. Okay, I'm into my last stitch. I did 8 half double crochets, and this is what the first row is looking like. Okay, from here I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, pull tight. Okay, so yarn over, and I'm going to go into the back loops here. Okay, not the regular loops where it's both under the V's. I'm going just in the back loops only. Okay, and you're going to go all the way down until you reach the end right at that last stitch. So this just creates the ribbon effect that it looks like it's bumpy or something. It gives it a ribbing effect. So working in all the back loops. So this is my 7th back loop half double crochet, and into my 8th, which is my last stitch here, I'm going to actually go under not the back loop but both loops. Okay, so every time I get to the end, I will go under both loops of that last stitch. This stitch count will not change, and you will keep repeating this throughout the entire process. So one more time, you're going to chain 1, pull tight, and go into the back loops all the way until you get to that stitch right before your last stitch. Very simple. All right, now that we're at our second to last stitch, when we get to that last one, we're going to go under both loops, just like this. Chain 1, and you're going to continue that process for as long as you need your waistband to be. So this should be about an inch smaller than what your waist is, if not 2 inches smaller than what your waist is. It's your preference. So for example, let me show you. So here I finished up, and my waist is 32 inches, and I have crocheted 30 and a half. I'm gonna bring it a little closer so you can see. It's roughly 30 and a half. And if I try this on, as you see, this is where it goes without me pulling it. But when I pull it together, you see how much room I still have? So I want it to be like this, to where it's a little tighter, because yarn stretches over time and that will loosen up. So I decided to take down a few rows and make it smaller. So I did it about 30 inches or so. So here I just chained one. I'm going to slip stitch the ends together. So I go under both loops of the side closest to me and under the back loops and the one furthest away from me. So again, under both loops on this side and only into the back loop on the other side. And slip stitch. I just pull tight for my preference. Okay, so both loops and back loop. And then you just continue that all the way until the end. And once I get to the end, I actually go under both loops, okay, on both sides. I just pulled up a loop so I can show you. This is what it looks like on the inside. I have a stitch marker to show where my inside was because I had some knots. And this is the outside. So you wanted to kind of keep that ribbing look, so that's why I did it that way. So from here, I'm just going to chain one, pull up a loop, and cut. Very simple. And yeah, so that's what it looks like. Inside and outside. So here I just found the loop that was kind of open next to where I tied off my yarn, and then I reattach my yarn with a slip stitch, and then into that same stitch I'm going to make a single crochet. Now this part is important, but it's kind of hard to really explain it or show it. So you're going to make one single crochet into each row that you did. So if you know how many rows, keep track of that. That will be a lot easier. And if you don't, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You just want to make sure that you have an even number. That's the best advice I can give. Also what I did was try to go into the same amount of stitches every row. So I went into one, went into the bar, went into the next, went into the bar. Tried to keep it consistent because I really wanted no gaps. So however you see fit, whatever you find best and what's most comfortable, you will want to do. So it doesn't really matter how many stitches you have at this point. It matters if it's even, okay? And then once you get down to the end, you want to slip stitch into the top of that single crochet. I just pulled up a loop so I can show you. No gaps. So I really wanted it to have no gaps. So I tried to crochet into every stitch that I possibly could. And every number will be different. Everybody's will be different. It's not that important. Just an even number is important. Okay, so now here. So you see I have some stitch markers. So what I did was basically took the measurement from halfway point. I folded my end here where I started my row, and I made sure I was right dead smack in the middle. Okay, and then once I got that number, I folded my ends together again, so my starting point to my middle point, and then I got my two side points, which you see the blue and the pink stitch marker. So those points from here to here and from here to here should be the same number. So around the back basically and around the front, you will have the same amount of number. So this is where your hips will be. So if you have wider hips, you will definitely want to do this part because this is where your increases will be. If you have a more straighter frame, then you can just go ahead and crochet all the way through. That will be a lot easier. But if you need to increase, if you have wider hips than what your waist is, you will want to do this part here. So for me, in this first stitch, I'm going to start with a stacked single crochet. And then I'm going to double crochet in every single stitch until I reach my stitch marker. Nothing fancy, nothing extra. So you want to do a double crochet into every single stitch until you reach your stitch marker. Also start this row with the chain 2 if you do not feel comfortable making a stacked single crochet. So I'm here to my first stitch marker. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to make 2 double crochets into this same stitch, and then I'm going to replace my stitch marker into that second stitch, and this will not change. I'm going to keep placing it into the second stitch every single time I get to it. And once I came to my purple stitch, which was my middle marker stitch, I just crocheted normal. I just left that stitch here. I just left that stitch marker there just so I can know where my middle point was. That's it. Okay, and at this point I decided to change my color. I started the next stitch with the start of a double crochet, leaving 2 loops on my hook. And then I finished off that double crochet in my new color. And then I continued to crochet while going over my tails in my new color. And this is how I changed my colors. I kept doing that all the way around. So every time I changed the color, there was nothing specific. I just changed in the middle of my rows or whenever I felt like changing the color. And yeah, just kept doing that around and around and around. So basically, that's pretty much the gist of this skirt. I kind of did not film much more after this, so I do apologize for that, but I did nothing extra. I just increased until it got to the widest part of my hips. So my hips are 48 inches, so I crocheted until I got to about 48 inches. If you want a tighter fitting skirt, you will want to crochet until maybe an inch or 2 less than what your actual hip size is, and then the skirt will be a tighter fit. Once I reached my widest point, I kept using my stitch markers, and then I started decreasing into those stitch markers. So once I reached that widest point, I started decreasing for just a few rows, maybe about 4 rows or so I did of decreases. And yeah, also you will most likely want to increase 1 row, make a normal row, increase the next row, make a normal row. So you want to increase every other row so it won't have extreme flare out. It kind of just gradually open up. And then also the same thing for your decreases. So you want to keep it 1 row decrease, then a normal row, 1 row decrease, and then a normal row. I will most likely be recreating this skirt again, and then I will give a better detailed tutorial, and you can see exactly how I did that. I hope this helps, and I hope you're able to create this skirt. It's very simple. So I would like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you can, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.